Hey folks, it's your buddy JM here. Just wanted to give you a quick howdy. Gonna do a kind of a movie review sort of thing here, which I usually do in writing, but in this case, I think it might be better if I try to do this one in video because I've finally made it to see the second the guy's name is J.J. Abrams. I finally made it to see the second J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, Star Trek Into Darkness. Uh, and I must admit, I am honestly confused as to what I am supposed to think of this movie. See, the thing is, my, memories of the reboot movie he did in 2009 are, well, they're hazy to say the least, and that's probably justifiable because it was a good movie, but there was probably a little much different from what I had before then always thought of as Star Trek. And, it was a good movie, but I was in no rush to see this second one. Uh, and now that I have seen this, Star Trek Into Darkness, I'm actually kind of confused as to what the hell I'm supposed to think of it because, I gotta say, it was actually, like markedly better than, what I've come to think of the, first one. The actors were, all, much more comfortable in their roles, than they seemed to be before, which I think is a good thing. And in this case, I think they had a, much better story to work with than they did in the first one. And that's kind of where we get into the, bad things about this movie. Because, it's too bad that story was Space Seed and pretty much Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because Space Seed was probably my favorite, original series Star Trek episode. And, the story arc for 2, 3, and 4 was probably my, favorite one for the, classic Trek movies. And I guess I should be happy that it's been kind of remade. But, as I said, for the, just over 2 hours that this thing ran, I was, constantly wondering, okay, why is anyone doing what they're doing? Because in Space Seed, I understood, Khan's motivation. When Kirk and crew woke him up, he was thinking, well, okay, I'm, genetically, modified, genetically enhanced leader, and you know, that's, what I was brought into existence to do. So now that I've been revived, so what if it's, not 1990 anymore? It's, you know, 2260 or whatever that episode took place. Khan was saying, well, okay, so what? I'm gonna, be the natural leader I was, going to be. Back when I was in power on Earth during the eugenics wars, in the late 90s, and eventually Kirk, Spock, and the others, pretty much, got the better of, Khan and put him down on SETI Alpha 5, I think it was. And then when he came back in Wrath of Khan, Khan's, motivation was, well, okay, I'm, pissed at Kirk for essentially abandoning me, and which was actually partly justified, I would say, because, I guess Kirk didn't really, make sure that there were people coming to, look in on Khan and his crew, and, but as far as, whichever other planet in the system was that, that system that, blew up and screwed, gunning his people over that I don't think was really under anybody's control. But the thing is, I at least understood their motivations in Space Seed and Wrath of Khan. In Into Darkness here, I'm lost. I really don't know. There was uh, well, I want to say the guy's name was Admiral Marcus. Uh, I don't know. I'd have to, he'll forgive me if I try. I'm already starting to get hazy on this, and I'm not even a half hour out of the movie yet. But it's one of those things where apparently the Starfleet fellow that was in charge of bringing Khan back, wanted him to help them make weapons to you know protect Earth and the Federation and all that against the next big threat, whatever it may be. When really the only thing that was anything even remotely like a threat was the Klingons, who were, well, it feels kind of weird calling the Klingons pussies, but that's pretty much what they were in this movie. You know, because when we saw them, they essentially got their asses handed to them big time, pretty much by Khan, who then turned himself over to Kirk once he found out that Kirk had his crew. Uh, you know, I mean, you know, I'm lost here. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about it's a. I mean, it's. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that my biggest criticism of the movie is it's pretty much exactly the one I wanted. And, you know, I was really, really hoping they'd do something else with it. You know, so I'm kind of disappointed. I don't know that I got exactly what I wanted. Uh, I mean, I'm really at a loss as to what I think of this one. So I guess now that it's in cheap seats, I recommend maybe going to see it if you're if you like classic Trek like I do. It's worth seeing to see a remake of Space Seed and Wrath of Khan. But if you're expecting something that's like new and radically different from what you were going into, what were expecting, if you're expecting more of the same from like what you were seeing in the 2009 reboot movie, well, you might be kind of disappointed, unfortunately. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a bad movie, and in fact, I might even go so far as to say check it out. But, uh, yeah, I'm really as confused about this as I seem right now. So, anyway, you know, uh, Star Trek Into Darkness or Star Trek Into Space Seed and Wrath of Khan, as it turned out to be, you know, um, I'd say go check it out, because it's one of those things where I guess they're finally kind of, doing better. Yeah, I just wish they could have, gone a different way than they did. Uh, and I'm coming up on 10 minutes here, and I'm not sure how much I can put up on YouTube, but I'm going to, just add one more thing here, I guess. Probably one of the things that I am sure of is that I'm glad to see they're actually using, more of the, species and, races that they were coming up with in the after in the years then series since classic Trek, and I'm glad I'm kind of getting to see Kirk and crew act with interact with Cations and Binars and all these other species that we maybe didn't quite have so much interaction with in the original series, but I mean, I guess I'm kind of hoping for a J.J. Abrams Star Trek 3. I mean, I'm wondering if it will be Search for. Well, I guess it won't be Search for Spock because they, changed just enough in this one to pretty much nullify that. But even if it's not Search for not Kirk or whatever you're gonna call it, I mean, I'm kind of interested in seeing where they go with this now. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you're, this is kind of like, the kind of thing where I'd say if you're, especially if you like classic Star Trek, check this out. Or if you're, a non-specific sci-fi fan and don't have like any connection to Star Trek in general, just I mean, it's a good movie. It's just one I don't know what to think of, and I guess the best way to wrap this up would be to try and paraphrase one of Leonard Nimoy's lines from this particular one. I've seen this movie, and you should see it, but it's your movie to see for yourself, and I've told you, I think, all I can. So, go see it and form your own opinions of it. I'm confused and starting to ramble worse than usual. So I guess I will, end this here. Live long and prosper. Check out the Star Trek Into Darkness if you're curious. And I guess I will see you when I see you. Uh, have a good night, good morning. I'll, see you eventually, I guess. Good night, all.